Hi, my name's AudreyGale and I do art. Today I'm going to be putting a mural on this back wall. This is a hat embroidery company and they also do lasers, decals, that sort of thing. They do a lot of work for car companies. So the owner has requested that I do a mural of the state of Tennessee. There's going to be some Tennessee landmarks, there's going to be cars, there's going to be highways. So we're going to be filling this wall up with the state of Tennessee. It's got to kind of look something like this. So I have kind of mocked up that design. I'm going to put that design on my projector and I'm going to project it back to this wall to make sure that it is even, level, and all the right dimensions. Okay, so I had to put the projector right in the center of this table in order to get my chalk outline on the wall. And I know you can't see it, but this is the state of Tennessee on the wall, chalked out. So I actually used the projector to put it on the wall here, and I used a tape measure to figure out about 10 feet, 2.5 feet, and I also made sure that it was level and straight. So now that is all chalked out, we can fill it in with paint. All right, so I got 2 coats of blue up on the Tennessee state. That was the big job. Now it's going to be going back and adding highways and cars and bears and mountains and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm very pleased with it. And yeah, I'll be back in a few days to get started on it. All right, we're on day 2 of the mural. You can see that I've already added, this is the Batman building in Nashville. I'm getting a start on that. My plan is to do the bigger landmarks first, get those filled in. That's the most important thing. And then I'm going to connect the dots with highway. And last, we'll add the cars. I do want to talk about a purchase that I've made that is an absolute game changer. And after using it for like 30 minutes, it's worth every penny. So I got this scaffold. Basically, it's a portable scaffold and I can take the steps off of it. I can fold it up. I can put it in my car pretty easily. It's on wheels, so I don't have to really lug it around. And I can put the steps wherever I want, lock it in place, and that way I'm not going up and down on the ladder, back and forth, and that has already saved me so much time and just hard work on my body. Here's a closer look at it. So it's got these 3 steps here, and I could even pop these steps up on the next level if I wanted to make it taller. And I've just been standing on it so comfortably to reach where I need to be on the mural. It also comes with this tray here that I can put all my stuff on. I'm so glad that I purchased this thing. I really think this is gonna shave off a lot of time when I do my murals. Okay, so 5 hours later, this is all I have done. This thing was a to draw. Apparently, this is full disclosure, first building I've ever drawn. You can get a better look at it. First building I've ever painted, and I hated it. I don't like painting buildings, turns out. I've got a couple more, I think I've got one more building to put up here, and a boat and a train, which is also going to be very intricate. But I had to just stop. I know they're probably going to walk in tomorrow and be like, God, that's all she got done. But I just had to it's just a bunch of straight lines over and over and over again. I tried to use a ruler. That was not working for some reason. And you know, I'd do a bunch of straight lines, and then I would have to do a bunch of different color straight lines, and then it was like, oh, well, this one's crooked, so I gotta go back and fix it. It was just a constant cycle. So another important thing to remember in murals is that it doesn't have to look perfect close up, because it's gonna be seen from probably 5-6 feet away at least. So that being said, I'm happy how it looks from 5 feet away. And yeah, we're gonna pack it up for the day. Try again next time. I do think that this will be my most difficult thing to put up, and that everything else will be a lot easier. Mountains, bear, cars, that sort of thing. Also, physically, I feel so much better after using that scaffolding. I hesitated buying it for a couple weeks because it was like $200, but it was worth every penny. 30 minutes in, I was like, I'm not sweating as much. I'm not having to go up and down this ladder all the time. I feel like I probably saved myself, you know, I think I could be shaving several hours off of this mural altogether because of it. I don't have to go up and down constantly getting different paints. I got the tray right there, so definitely worth it. And yeah, buy it all over again. Okay, we're on day three of the Tennessee mural, and what I wanted to do first was to finish the lettering and the logo on the AT&T building, aka the Batman building, which is probably the most famous building in Nashville. The next thing I wanted to do was to chalk out the big landmarks so that I can figure out, are they too big, are they too small, are they too close to something else? And that is what I've done here. We've got a big boat, which I'm actually going to scale down a little bit. We've got a train. You can't see it, but there's a bear here. And then I also chalked out these two, but I've already painted them. We've got some mountains, and then we've got a big building that is famous to Knoxville. Basically, I'm gonna finish painting those two. I've kind of got a coat started on this barn as well, and then I'm gonna call it a day. This will be definitely the most detailed, intricate painting I've ever done, much less a mural, but I know it'll all be worth it in the end because it'll look great. Alright, so I'm going back today to work on the mural. I'm actually going to go back in the morning. I just happen to have an extra day off this week. This next little bit of the mural is going to be very difficult to do. I have a lot of little lines, a lot of very detailed structures, boats, trains, buildings. I happened to get this a couple weeks ago. It's a 29 pack of Posca pens. And if you know anything about Posca pens, they're super expensive usually, but for good reason. They're very high quality. And you can use them on indoor murals pretty well, actually. This was like 40% off. So it was only like maybe $40. And that's an awesome deal for these. So I think I'm going to be implementing these on all of my little fine lines and details that I have to do on the buildings and the train and the boat. I think that's just going to make this thing like 10 times easier. So we'll see how it goes.
The Posca pens worked perfectly for putting the rails and the shadows on this building. To make the trees, I just added my darkest layer of green. I added a slightly lighter layer of green, and then I added more of a white to cover it to really give it some perspective and depth. The client wanted to do something slightly different here from the barn that we were originally doing, so you can kind of see where I've painted over it and started a new barn here. The next day I came back and added the train. So as you can see here, I used some redder Posca markers to add some depth to the railing of the train.
Alright, so I came back for just a few hours to add some details to the train, finish up the whole train. I'm really liking how it's looking. I also just put a base layer down on this boat, and I basically finished this Sea Rock City barn. Maybe just a couple of touch-ups, but I'm hoping next time that I come, maybe later this week, I can finish up this boat. Once I finish up the boat, all that's left are the streets and the cars, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually probably the easiest part of this whole thing. Once I get to the street and the cars, I'm in the home stretch.
This AT&T building in Nashville is famously referred to as the Batman building because of how it looks, so the owner wanted me to add a Lego Batman. I also added a Goo Goo Cluster truck because Goo Goo Cluster candies are from Nashville. I added some dimension, a door, and a little hay window to the Sea Rock City barn. I also painted a simplified version of this boat and added just a little tiny Elvis to one of the levels of the boat because it is in Memphis.
Alright, I'm off to the mural hopefully one last time. I'm just gonna finish up some cars, gonna wipe down any excess, clean up any unsmooth lines, and that should do it. Franny? Alright, so I'm officially done with this Tennessee mural. I think it turned out so great. This was definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. This is probably the longest I've ever worked on a mural. Not that I've done a ton, but yeah, I'm glad to be done though. I've spent way more time than I anticipated doing this because there's just a lot of details in this mural, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. Okay, so I am back from officially finishing this mural. I just went back this morning and did a few minutes worth of touch-ups that he wanted to be addressed, and now I have been paid and I am officially done with this mural. I have to say, you know, this was a really difficult mural for me. I was really looking forward to doing it, in particular just because of the subject matter. I thought it'd be really cool to do the whole state of Tennessee, and I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I think this is gonna be a great one to add to my portfolio. I had a lot of fun with it at first. To be honest, this was a really difficult one for me towards like the last half. I was completing the mural on and off for about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. Of course, I wasn't there every day, but it just took, I don't know, it probably took like an extra week than it needed to take. There was a lot of things involved with this mural. There were a lot of landmarks. There was an initial plan that we had discussed that I had mocked up for him, And basically he wanted to add on some stuff as we went along, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with adding stuff. I was afraid though that maybe I was getting taken advantage of, like maybe I was gonna put all this extra stuff in and not be compensated for it because this was past what we had agreed upon. I also had to go back and like paint over some stuff that I had already worked on. I had to go back and do some touch-ups on things that he was just not satisfied with. He told me during the process, like, hey, just so you know, I am like kind of a hypercritical person. So just let me know if it gets too much. And of course I didn't do that. You know, I've only done 3 murals and the second and third one were from him. I was trying to save face, and you know, I was just being as polite as I could about it, and I think I achieved that. It definitely put more pressure on me. It stressed me out. There were times where I did not want to be nice about it. And I was getting to the point where I was gonna have to just like I was just gonna have to say, listen, we're done. No more add-ons for this price. But it all ended up working out. You know, we met up today and he realized, like, you know, obviously this went past the agreed upon original mural mock-up. So we renegotiated a price basically. So the first mural I did, I charged $270. It was exactly what we had mocked up. It took me about 2.5 days to do. And so I said, you know, I'm comfortable with just going forward with the $270 price mark on that. And for the second one, I quoted him $500. Obviously, I gave him a lot more work than $500 worth. I mean, every day that I came in, there were 1 or 2 things that he wanted to add or change in some form. So by the end of it, I said, you know, I quoted you $500. Since we've added some stuff, let's do $800 for the second one. And he agreed to it. I didn't want to double it. That felt like too much, and it wasn't double the work, but I did spend a lot more time there than I had anticipated because of the changes. But I'm glad that at the end, you know, he wasn't going to jib me, so to speak, and that he did realize that it was more work than what we had agreed upon, which, you know, necessitates a price change. Not only did he do that, but he did give me a nice little tip. He was like, listen, I know I was hard on you. I know that I kind of gave you a lot of extra stuff and was critical, you know, about how I wanted it to look, and you did a great job. So I feel like I was compensated fairly for it. The tip was nice, and I'm not someone who feels like they need a tip, feels like I should have a tip. I think you should. I think the tipping culture situation has kind of gotten out of hand, and maybe we don't need to be tipping everyone, myself included. I was very appreciative nonetheless for, you know, all the extra work that I put into it. I think going forward, just to prevent this situation again, I'm definitely going to be doing some sort of contract going forward. You know, at my first couple murals, I didn't think I needed to do that. You know, I'm just getting started. I was like, well, you know, I'll get to that, but not right now. This could have ended not so well. This could have ended in a situation where I was working a lot more than what I was getting paid. Luckily, he's a decent person, so that didn't happen. But in order to protect myself in the future, I definitely want to establish contracts with everyone that I'm doing a mural for to protect myself. If you want to add on stuff to the mural, that's fine, but like that might be subject to some renegotiation in the price. I also learned that I think I need to rethink my current pricing structure. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that I would kind of get out there, start working, and realize I'm not charging enough. I know I'm not charging enough, but I am just getting started. I want to be competitive. I want to be able to get some experience under my belt, some stuff added to my portfolio. And I also don't think it's super fair to be charging these people prices that, you know, a super experienced muralist would charge, because it does take me longer. I'm not as expert in this category yet. as some of those other people. So therefore, I don't feel like I should be charging like them. Not yet. But I do feel like I need to reevaluate what is simple design, what is somewhat detailed, and what is very detailed. I think my prices need to reflect that level of complexity that I can bring to a mural, because right now it's not as big of a range as it should be. I think I need to add a wider range of complexity to my pricing structure to accommodate for things like this that were just ultra detailed. I also think I just need to make a completely different pricing structure for those looking for like a simple logo or a quote or just something that can be done easily, because just because it's the same size as a really complex mural, that certainly should not be the same price, because that takes me, you know, a fraction of the time to complete a more simple logo that's really straightforward. So I think I'm gonna have just two completely different pricing structures for murals and logos, quotes, that sort of thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have learned something, anything from this mural process video. I definitely plan on doing more murals, and I'm gonna be posting and making process videos on all the murals that I do. If you're into that sort of thing, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.